In our 2022 positional reviews, we finish off with the special teams unit. See our thoughts on them right after this. In our final stop on our 2022 positional reviews, as I said before, we're looking at special teams. Honestly, overall, I thought it was a good season from our special teams unit. Obviously, new coordinator Matt Daniels coming in, thought he did a pretty solid job with them, especially mainly from a kicking perspective. Obviously, Ryan Wright ended up being the correct choice at punter. Tried a few things on special teams with some fake punts and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. Worked Greg Joseph through a down period throughout the season. Obviously, return-wise, it would have been better, but we'll kind of get into all this stuff as we go through kind of piece by piece and on the special teams unit. But of course, before we get into there, we do got to mention that 78% of you watching our videos are not subscribed. What are you doing? It's free. Hit the subscribe button. Ring that notification bell. Get updates when we post our videos. It's free. Come hang out. We do live streams. We give cards away. It's a fun time. Come hang out. Good stuff. Daily or not weekly content. It's good. Hit subscribe. You know what to do. Anyway, let's jump in. First off, we'll start off with kicker Greg Joseph. Field goals made 26 of 33, 78.8, 34th in the league. Extra points made 40 of 46, which is kind of a big problem was a big problem throughout the season. 89 kickoffs, 39.3% of them were returned. PFF field goal grade of 60.5 and a kickoff grade of 59.1. Obviously, Greg Joseph's season was very up and down. Went on a stretch where he was missing a lot of extra points. Missed field goals throughout the season. Started off in Green Bay, nailed a 50-some yarder, and then he missed his next 5, I think. But then after that, kind of righted the ship. It was a really, really weird season for Greg Joseph. But obviously, end of game situations, the guy was absolute nails. Nailed a 61-yarder to beat the Giants. How many game-winning kicks did he have this year? At least 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's really weird. It's like in those mid-game, early game situations, it's kind of whatever. But when you get him in crunch time, kind of like Kirk Cousins, the guy just comes alive.
Kirk Cousins now.
Yeah, but the guy just comes alive. And I don't think Greg Joseph is under contract next year, but I do think he earned himself another year on this team. Hopefully, just keep working through some of his issues. But overall, solid season from Greg Joseph. I mean, obviously, the extra points are a big no-no. Like missing a couple, sure. Missing 6 is pretty inexcusable. And then the field goals, I mean, obviously, he missed, 7? And so 5 of those were the 50-plus yarders that he missed kind of mid-season when he was kind of going through his slump. But, yeah. I don't know. It was a good season for Greg Joseph. Obviously, things to work on, but overall, you can't complain.
For me, I would say it was an all right season for Greg Joseph. I do think, though, mostly because, obviously, if you look at his stats right here, I mean, field goal percentage, 34th in the NFL, there's 32 teams in the NFL. Extra points, 36th, again, 32 teams in the NFL. PF field goal percentage, 32. But also
PFF
grade 32, kickoff 26 out of 32 teams in the NFL, 59.1. I don't know what was going on with that. I don't know if that was scheme or whatever.
I think that was scheme.
Yeah, that was like a scheme thing. So I'm not blaming on him, but I do have to say, that's obviously but that's not I don't want my field goal to have 34th field goal made, even though he missed 7 and some of them are over 50. The extra point thing is crazy. I don't like that at all. And the thing with the extra points is they were always at bad times, though you make a fantastic point that he hits his kicks in clutch situations, which I think is probably the most important thing as a kicker. And is the reason why I'm definitely cool with him being around, though he does have to 100%. He's not going to be around for long if he can't hit those in middle of the game field goals or especially extra points, because he shouldn't be missing them. And kickoff, he definitely wasn't the best, regardless of scheme, wasn't the best kicker for kickoffs.
Well, that's like as much as I love as much as I like what Matt Daniels did this season. I think he's a good special teams coordinator, and
Yeah.
he'll continue to grow just like the rest of our coaches will.
Right.
I do
Right.
wonder what was up with that kickoff thing. Like
Yeah.
and I don't know if that because Greg Joseph could boot it through the back of the end zone. So I don't know if the short
Right.
kickoff was
Right.
just a thing we were doing, which is one big gripe I had against him also or against Matt Daniels or whatever all season long.
Yeah.
And there was
Because
a
it
season
wasn't
where I was
working.
pretty frustrated with Greg
It
Joseph,
wasn't
and I kind of
working
just
at
got
all.
over it. But
Like they
but
were getting past the 25.
yeah. So
A lot
did they say with the field goals made, was there any sort of like a certain amount of kicks you had to go to get there? Because you got to think there could be a guy who comes in for 2 games,
Yeah.
4 field
Yeah. But
goals,
not
makes
a
all of them. That's
lot.
100%. It's of course it's going
Yeah.
to bump somebody
You
down the
saw that
misses.
more on the punting. As far as field goals go, let me check actually real quick. Special teams field goal. So as far as field goals go, there is for PFF, just PFF in general, there was one player, Dustin Hopkins for the Chargers had 10 attempts. Tristan, so has another player had 2, another one in front of him had 3, another one had 2.
So
So there was only
the
4
34 is
players,
misleading.
but there's only 4 other players weren't full-time starters in front of him. So 32, he'd been at 28 if you take those guys out of there, which is still not. I don't want to have a bottom. If you want a good field goal kicker, you want them to be in the top half, not the bottom half. If you added clutch percentage, if there's, I don't know if I can see something like that. If I was going to be like in the clutch, I think there's a chance that Greg Joseph is definitely towards the top of that list.
I would think so.
But still, so I don't know, man. I like Greg Joseph. I would keep him around. I'm not convinced he's like, if we got rid of Greg Joseph and went in a different direction, I'm at the point now. I'm like, I don't know. Like he's been more consistent than what we've dealt with, which is what I like. I think I would want him to stick around, but if he
I'm in
didn't,
like
I wouldn't be like, oh, we're screwed now. Oops.
I think it's a make. I think
know
it's a
you
make
like
him earn it. I think it's a make him earn it situation where you bring him in, but you bring in competition. You sign him to a
Yeah.
cheap, like no guarantee or like low guarantees, couple million, $2-3 million.
Yeah.
Have him come in with somebody behind him,
Right.
and see what happens. See
I
who
think
wins
that's a
the
great
training
point.
camp battle. Go from there.
I think because of how clutch he was, I think he did a great job where he definitely deserves a chance. But I think with like the in-game lulls and stuff like that, I think it is a situation where you bring another guy in and kind of have that competition, which he could win. That happened last year, and he ended up winning that competition again. I mean, he was lights out in preseason and the whole offseason. It's just the extra point thing. I don't know what's with that. He just needs to practice that, man. I mean, if that didn't happen, all those extra points, I think we probably wouldn't even be talking about it as much. But man, those extra points are just ingrained in
which
your
I think
head
is what brings him down from like a solid like B+ to maybe a BB- type of season.
Yeah, I'll give him a.
I'm giving
I'll
like a
go with
middle
you
B.
on
I'm
that.
giving like an 83.
I agree with that. I agree with
83,
that.
84%.
Man, that 60-yarder.
Right, and that's what we like. Extra
Those
points
clutches
are
are
big
crazy.
no-nos, but you got to give him a
Yeah.
little bit of credit for the clutch kicks.
The clutch kicks, yeah. Those clutch kicks were huge clutch kicks. Every single time he was in a clutch, he hit that kick. So, especially after the 50-yard, he missed all those 50-yarders, and then he hits a 60 in a huge clutch situation, and that was huge. That was one of the biggest. We had that in one of our biggest plays of the entire year. So,
moving on next to the punter Ryan Wright, the rookie.
Yeah.
Obviously moving on from Jordan Berry, who had a big leg last year and did really well in 2021. We were a little bit kind of scratching your heads, but then we saw Ryan Wright and we're like, oh, that's why. 73 punts, 73-yard long, 47.3 average, 33 inside the 20, which was 5th in the league, and a 70.4 overall grade. And I don't know what they factor into that overall grade, because I wonder if part of it is like, I mean, how his punts are returned, because another gripe I had for Matt Daniels was the kick coverage units were never that great. And punting, I don't know if, and maybe Ryan Wright just doesn't get enough hang time on his kicks, but you feel like the punt returners are always catching the ball with room. And that is one of the things and maybe that's an issue with Ryan Wright. Something he needs to work on, getting more air on under it than just going for long. But overall, big leg, can throw the ball when you want to fake punt. But
yeah, I like that.
I'm happy we have the guy. And I think
he's a rookie.
He's become a fan favorite. And
he's a rookie.
Ryan Wright.
In his energy, he gives you a little bit of that I can't believe I can't think of this right now. What's his name? Fucking from the Colts.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. That's so stupid. He gives you that just that energy when he gets a good kick. He just gets all excited. I'm hoping to see a couple golf swings after he hits some good shots. But no, I mean, as a rookie this year, man, you can never ask anything better from a rookie punter. He has what you want from this guy, and especially from a position that we've been not very good at for quite a while now. I mean, we liked Barry last year. That's why we were so afraid to get rid of him or pick someone else instead of him, just because, like, all right, we have some sort of consistency. But Ryan Wright, I looked at both the stats from last year and this year, and Ryan Wright definitely beat him in pretty much every single statistic on here. And that 73 long punt, like, that's just something not everybody has.
Yeah, Ryan Wright's a stud. Love the guy. Grade wise, A minus.
Yeah, definitely A.
Yeah, I did well. Moving on, kick return, Kane WongWoo, 35 returns, 920 total yards, 26.3 average, 97 long, which was that touchdown run he had, which led to the one touchdown, and a 72.7 overall PFF kick return grade. Certain spots in which he took the ball out where I wish he wouldn't have, but I get it from his perspective that he's got that speed, as we saw on that 97-yard return. Yeah, I mean, solid overall. I mean, you would have liked to have seen maybe one more touchdown. But then again, kick return touchdowns are hard to come by.
Right.
I mean, and you really it wasn't that impressive until he pulled off that 97-yarder in a big moment against the Patriots in the Thanksgiving game. Would like to see more out of him, and I think we will eventually. But overall, solid.
Yeah, last year because it was a smaller sample size, and when he started playing and became like our full kick return, he was number 1 in PFF kick return grade, I think, and touchdowns and average. So I think coming in this season, I literally the best in the league kick returner expectations. Obviously, I don't think he met that, but there's no question in my mind. I mean, we have our kick returner for years to come. So still a really good season. Obviously, still gets 9th out of 32 teams. I'm gonna give him I'll still give him a B+ on the season. Though I was expecting an A season out of him, and hopefully we see that next year. I don't think, even though we found our kick returner, we're still looking for a punt returner, which we'll go into next after you give your grades.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him like a B- ish.
B-.
Yeah, whoa. Sometimes I just felt like
in the league.
Sometimes I just felt like he took it out when he shouldn't have, and B- ish, somewhere around there. I don't know. Yeah, I mean 26.3 average ain't bad either, but I don't know. I don't know. Kick return it's kind of difficult. It's a difficult position to judge. But this one is not a difficult position to judge. Jalen Reagor.
I mean, it is, but not this year.
26 returns, 228 yards total, 8.8 average, which is solid. 51 long, which is also good. No touchdowns and a 50.2 PFF grade. He had a couple bobbles. I don't know. Jalen Reagor, I feel bad. Everybody hates on the guy so hard. But I mean, it was a bit of a struggle. The punt return game wasn't great.
Yeah. That trade in general, because we gave a 4th, right? I get it. He's an old first-round pick. And we liked it at the time, because it's just if you go look at Jalen Reagor's college tape, it's so nice. And I do feel like there's just some, like, even us, I think there was ways we could have used him to our benefit for sure that we weren't. But then at the same time, I think the last time we said that, then he had, he quit on 2 plays where Kirk Cousins threw interceptions in that one game. So obviously, it's like, damn. So I don't know, man. Like, you shouldn't, if you're in your position, you should be doing whatever you can. You should be running, through the tunnel after every other play, not taking the end of plays off. So I wasn't big on that. And then as far as punt return goes, it just wasn't that impressive. It wasn't terrible. We've seen worse of recent years. Like, when he got the ball in his hands, he would do something with it. One thing that was concerning is he had a couple bobbling problems. He always ended up picking him up and going, but he did have that issue a little bit. So as far as a grade goes, I think I give him a D+.
I was thinking like low C's too, something around there.
Yeah, I'll give him a D+. I don't think we see him. Maybe we see him we gave a 4th rounder. Maybe we see him as our punt return, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's going to be much in our offense for sure.
Yeah, remember back when people were like, "Oh, Marcus Sherrills isn't that great." Kind of wish we had him now.
Oh,
Marcus
Marcus
Sherrills is
Sherrill.
Mr.
I know we
Consistent.
haven't been anything without my
No,
Marcus
no,
Sherrills on the
Marcus
punt
Sherrills was
return.
the man.
Yeah, he was.
But overall special teams, I would probably go like midish B, low B, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. B minus.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously the goods were Greg Joseph nailing clutch kicks, Ryan Wright in general,
Mhm.
Kene for the most part as a returner. The downs were the missed extra points, some of the coverage issues on kicks, as well
Yeah.
as the just not being able to get anything going in the punt return game.
Yeah, I also want to say before we end this is that our punting grade as a team was a 24 out of 32 was our overall special teams grade.
Which feels about fair, just with some of the kicking issues and whatnot. But I still think Matt Daniels is a good special teams coordinator. I think he's
Yeah,
going to grow.
agreed.
You learn from a good mentor.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I expect to see big things from him and the special teams unit coming up. We want to know your guys' thoughts. Let us know what you thought of the special teams unit in 2023 and where they're going, or 2022 and where they're going to go in 2023. I will see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikes.